All right, more work on the pool today. I just got the pool cleaner installed. We've got a dedicated vacuum port on the wall over here. We've got the hose run from it out to our little automated pool cleaner. This pool cleaner's got a circuit board in it, and it has the ability to learn the shape of the pool and determine the most effective pattern for cleaning the pool. And it's gotten kind of funky over the last few days. Just a lot of junk that's kind of come out of the pipes, even though we flushed everything out, and then stuff that just kind of fell into it while it was sitting for a couple of days, filling and everything else. But you can see a clean spot right there in the middle, and then dirt on both sides. The clean spot's where the little pool cleaner went through and suctioned the pool off. So it's going to do a good job, I think, keeping most of the junk off the bottom of the pool. I'm definitely going to have to backwash the filter after it gets done. I mean, look at all the junk. Definitely have to backwash and rinse the filter. But I'm looking forward to seeing what this little guy can do. Definitely going to simplify our regular cleaning tasks if it's able to do as well as they say. It got really good reviews, so I'm hopeful that it'll do a good job. We'll see. I'll keep you posted. It's working its way across the deep end now. You see the deep end got pretty funky down there. All that stuff just kind of settled down there. But it's picking it all up. I'll keep an eye on it for a while. It says it's going to take probably 4 to 6 hours to clean the whole pool. Man, look at it go. That's awesome. There it goes up the side. That is so cool. Let's talk a minute about an electrical bonding grid. Swimming pools are one of those unique things where you've got water and electric in very close proximity to each other. You've got pumps that are run off 220 volts typically, sometimes 110, and they are constantly pumping out water. You've got heaters that have 220 or 110 running to them. And again, they're dealing with water all the time. So it's very, very important to have a bonding grid with your pool equipment. An equipotential bonding grid is what helps prevent electrocution. So let's talk about that briefly. So on all these pieces of equipment, there's what's called a bonding lug, and that's this little guy right here. And that's different from a ground lug. There is a ground lug, but it's inside the case of the pump. See this piece of flexible conduit here? That has a ground wire in it running to a ground lug inside the case there, and that grounds the motor. That takes the ground back to the electric panel, which has this big fat green wire running out of it. You can see, which goes back to the main electric panel in the house, and from that main electric panel it goes out of the house and to ground. There is literally a big ground rod driven in the ground, so that allows any sort of electric short to run to ground. Electricity is always trying to get to ground, so it allows any sort of electric short to get to ground rather than trying to go through you to ground, which is a very bad thing. So we're talking about bonding, not grounding. So bonding, you've got these lugs on all your pool equipment. There's one there underneath the control panel. There's one there on the case. There's one on the back of this pump. There's one on the heater. And you can see this bare copper wire running between all of them. And it's important to have bare copper wire of at least 8 gauge here in the US. Some countries it's thicker. In Canada is 6 gauge. This is a little different. This is an anode. And what it does is it helps to prevent corrosion of your metallic parts in the pool. Because I'm running a saltwater system, it's a sacrificial anode. So water flows around that and breaks it down over time rather than chewing up your metal parts in your pool. But that thing is also hooked to the bonding grid, and because there's water around it, it's actually bonding the water. So your water is bonded, your heater, your two pumps, and then you see this wire running along the floor here, and that goes down the main hole with all the rest of the pipes, comes out underneath the pump house, and then it runs in this shallow ditch. This is going to be just right below the surface of the, or right below the slab, the apron, and then you can see it comes over here and connects to this wire which is running around the pool. And if we follow this, there's a connection here, and that wire runs into our pour for our skimmer. So the rebar inside this concrete block are bonded to this main bonding grid using a big clamp, a rebar clamp. If we follow the wire over here, you see this rebar. This rebar also has a bonding clamp on it, and the wire runs through it and continues around the pool. And it's kind of laid haphazardly around here for now, but when we get ready to actually pour concrete, or put down our pavers, I'll get it nicely organized, put some little stakes on it, and get it all tidied up. It comes over here to this rebar, and you can see I've knocked the rust off of it, so we get a good contact patch there between our clamp and the piece of rebar. Now these clamps are made for buried use. Some of them are not. You got to make sure you get the right ones. These clamps are made for buried use. So the wire continues out of there, comes around the corner of the pool, on this side of the pool. Anytime you go from one wire to another, you got to make sure you use these special clamps. Clamps are made of copper. Wire's all copper, and so it keeps a really good point of contact there, and that thing will never rust or anything like that. Copper can corrode over time, but not like steel where you get corrosion and rust forming and then lose your contact there. And it runs over here, which is where I'm working right now. I'm getting ready to knock the rust off of this piece of rebar, and I'll put a bonding clamp on there, and then this piece of copper wire that I just have looped around the deck jet pipe there, that will get hooked up to this lug right here, and so will this nice shiny piece of wire, and it'll get hooked up there. So I'm going to go ahead and knock the rust off of it with my grinder, and then we'll put that clamp on. That made short work of the rust. So again, these clamps are made for direct burial. They're made for underground use, or buried use. So the clamp's made of bronze, the screws are stainless screws. You don't have to worry about stuff corroding and falling apart. Alright, so there you go, that's how it's done. The clamp now has some nice shiny metal to contact, and again, that very sturdy bronze clamp, stainless screws, meant for burial, direct burial use. We've got our wires secured nice and tight. These aren't going anywhere. So now we'll run around the corner with this wire, and I'll hook up to another 25-foot section of copper. Take it around this side and then on around to the other side of the pool and connect back up to the one that goes into the pump house. Now here we're going to have the diving board. Its base gets bonded to the rest of it. You don't have any metal there that's not part of the equipotential grid. Over here we've got a ladder. This goes right here by the deep end. People that get out while they're diving and stuff down here. And the sockets for the ladder will also get bonded. So once we get ready to pour that, we'll run some copper wires between the two of those and they'll get hooked up to the rest of the grid. I'm going to knock this out and recap for you here in just a minute. Okay, the bonding grid is done. We made our way all the way back around the pool with our 8-gauge copper wire. Had to stop along the way and hit another piece of rebar over here next to the overflow. Same thing, just hit it with the grinder, clean it up a little bit, and put a bonding clamp on it. It's perfect. So now the pool is nice and safe, and we've got no reason to worry about anybody getting shocked. We're in great shape. This pile of salt can only mean one thing. We are salting the pool. We loaded up in the tractor to bring it over here, 40 pounds a piece, and we got like 26 bags to put in, so we figured it'd be a little easier. Load them all up in the bucket and haul them over. How's it going, babe?
Lovely.
Pretty awesome, huh?
Yeah. 20 pounds is heavy.
Yeah, it gets to you after a while, doesn't it?
Yep. Oh.
Uh-oh.
There we go.
Easy tear bag.
Yep. Sure, a little too easy.
But not a bad process. We just have to dump all of it in the pool and wait for it to dissolve. After it's thoroughly dissolved, then we can turn on the salt chlorine generator. Start making chlorine. Keep our pool sanitized. And between the salt cell and the zeolite sand, zeosand, we'll have really low chlorates in the pool, so that means more comfortable. Less burning eyes, less skin irritation. All good stuff, huh, babe?
Yep.
This water's awfully enticing. I think we're gonna have to go for a swim after we get this dumped in here.
Okay.
Turn on the deck jets and go to it.
Well, I mean, we can just assist the process.
Yeah, I mean, we're just mixing the salt, right?
Right.
Yeah. Purely out of self-sacrifice, we get in there and mix it around with our feet.